Hello and welcome to the business game simulation. I think that by now most of you have already done the simulation or are going to do it very soon. So we are giving you now a snapshot about what are the key takeaways for this business game simulation. So you've done it. So what? Why did we do all this? So first of all, welcome from Telcovision again, and we want to go through the main steps which helped you or would help you to understand better this business game simulation. Now, let us dive directly into the simulation itself, and we see that we are trying to run a startup, which is a startup doing a mobile app on Android and on iOS. So the question is how the market demand is already provided. So first of all, we understand that 50% of the market share is for Android and another 50% is on iOS. What we also understand is that the Android users are very price sensitive and they are also very consumer related. Okay, so they want consumer satisfaction, whereas on the iOS they are more related to quality of service, and also they are around customer satisfaction. So what we understand from this is that every mobile app has a different need from a customer side. So we know that now if we want to build a mobile app on Android, we need to think about the price. And if we want to build a mobile app on iOS, we need to understand better and focus more on quality. However, both of them are looking at customer satisfaction, so we cannot ignore that. So now, once we understood what it means in terms of market demand, we are here now going to build the team that is going to help us to develop these mobile applications. So what do we have here? We have Gabriel, Thomas, Anthony, Lisa, and Sarah. So we know that Gabriel is very good in developing Android, right? And we know that he is average on iOS, not that good, but he is also weak in all other skills. Now, Thomas, on the other hand, he is very good on iOS. He's average on Android, right? And as Gabriel, he's also weak in the other old skills. So now we understand that from among the people which are provided to us, we know that we have two good technical people. One mainly is on Android, the other one is on iOS. Now we have a third one who is average or around 60% know-how on both on Android and iOS. So this guy, for example, could be our average guy who is able to do work here and there. But if you think about the market demand, and we know that the iOS guys or consumers are looking mainly for quality, is Anthony the right guy for us? Now, if we go to Lisa, Lisa is more about understanding customer acquisition. Okay, so this means that Lisa is good in probably pricing, and she understands very well the business modeling. Okay, so she's around 50% on this one, so she's okay. Like, she understands few things around the business modeling, whereas Sarah is 90% good in business modeling, right? And she's 50% okay on digital advertising. So what does it mean? It means that now we have a couple of resources which are a little bit diversified, and we have 3 good technical people, we have 2 very good business people. So this means that if we want to hire for our simulation, The best way in order to give a better chance for us to win this simulation, we need to have a balanced team. Hiring all of them definitely is not a good idea. It's a waste of money because you might have overlapping skills and you don't need them. Now, if you decide, for example, in your strategic approach that you want to start with iOS only, then probably you would hire Thomas and you would hire Lisa and Sarah, for example, to do the marketing for you. But if you say, no, I am only Android, then you go for Gabriel, and then you still go for Lisa and Sarah or Sarah, right? Now, it all depends what is your strategy and how much money you want to put in. So if you want to say, listen, I will start at the beginning, at the first round, I will hire Anthony, for example. He's, average in both, so probably he's going to take me through the market a little bit. Then I will understand what the competition is going to do. So I might start with Anthony, take Lisa and Sarah, and then based on the results of round 1 or round 2, I would say, listen, probably I would either hire a better expert in one of them because this is where the market is going. So this is how you start deciding what kind of team you have to bring to your business so that you are successful on the commercial side and to answer the market demand. Now, once we have selected the team, we have to look at other criteria. We have know-how and networking. Know-how and networking is important because it's going to give us how to get introduced to new people. So if I don't want to invest in business development, for example, then how can I get different kind of partnerships? And for example, like here, when we talk about technical partnerships, this is exchange of know-how. Okay, so we all understand that not every single business have all the expertise in-house. And especially as a startup, right? I'm talking how to manage a startup. You don't want to have all the expertise in-house because it's very expensive. So what you do, you start doing business development and you start partnering with external entities so that they can help you in building the business. Now, of course, you have to go into training as well because not everybody has all the know-how and they are experts in everything. Training is very, very important. We had training in project management, and we had training in new tech, and we had training in digital marketing. So once we do this, you have to decide where to put your money. Definitely, you don't have to put all the budget that was allocated for this kind of training, but it would be wise to add a little bit of training to your employees because it's going to help them to improve over time. And this is how you can probably gain expertise and win more market share. Also, in terms of strategic advice, this is going to give you some information and assistance on the development of the app and on updates, right? Why this is important? Because you all have mobile smartphones. You are all using different kind of apps. And I am sure that sometimes you are frustrated or not when you see that these apps are updated all the time. And why they are updated? Because the operating system is updated, and then they need to be updated to work better with the operating system. And if you don't have this one, then your app might crash, your app might not work anymore, and then the customers are going to uninstall it. Also, hardware and software, you need lots of testing, right? Workstations, for example. And why we say workstation or devices? So imagine that you are developing on Android and you don't have an Android handset for your developers to test their application on. So how would they know what's going on? So all the time when you start a business, there is an investment that should go between software and hardware so that you help your employees perform better. And what is important here, software use. If you didn't do software use or you didn't invest in it, you might be at a competitive disadvantage because the idea of the software reuse is that once you want to develop the same software on two different platforms, which is Android and iOS, if you select a reuse factor, this means that you don't have to redevelop from scratch and pay lots of money from scratch to make it happen on two different platforms. So this way, you capitalize on some initial investment, and then after that, you can move to another platform, which is going to help you to go to market faster, cheaper, with better accuracy. So definitely our recommendation was to go and do some software reuse. The same for updates. Here we discussed about updates before, but it's the same. You need to do Android and iOS, right? I cannot imagine a mobile application that doesn't have any updates. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. Every time you need to update, you have to redevelop the app from scratch to comply with the new rules of the platform, which is very expensive. Finally, we have to go into the digital strategy. So if we go to the digital strategy, it's very important because it is the commercial part of it. So here we have the business model, right? So the business model for you is to just say if I am going into a freemium model or paid. The main difference is that this is 100% free. Freemium is that you can download for free, but there is an in-app purchases, and this is where you can make more money. And here it is paid, which means that the end user will have to pay to download your app. So the difference between these, usually if you notice, sometimes you download 100% free apps and they are full of advertisements. Sometimes they are frustrating or not. Users are accepting to use it or not, depending on their preferences. But your money would come from advertisers and not from the end user who is going to use the app. Here, it's a hybrid model. It's the user going to download for free. Then they have in-app purchases. And then sometimes you have as well advertisements. And here it is 100% paid. Now, you had to do the strategic decision on round one, and you were not able to change it after that. And this is how you will go through the whole strategic approach over the simulation. Price. So this was important. Price, you can only apply it for the freemium model or the paid model. It doesn't apply for the free because it's free, right? And of course, you would understand if we go back to the market demand, we understand that Android users are price sensitive, whereas iOS users are quality sensitive. So this means that an iOS user is willing to pay a little bit more on the mobile app, but they are expecting a much higher quality. Whereas an Android user, they are expecting to pay a lower price on the app, and they don't care much about the quality. So if you want to price an app for $3, for example, you might gain a traction on the market share for iOS, but you will not get the traction on the market share of Android. So this is why if you decided to go freemium or paid, you were able to have different pricing either for Android or for iOS. Digital partnership. This is important so that you can do co-branding and co-marketing, right? Because as we say that when you are a startup, you always need to rely on partnerships. So you do a partnership and say, okay, I help you promote your brand, you help me promote my brand, and this is why we need to cooperate and start working together. Then we have the advertising mix. So where do we go? For example, we go social media, right? We go on websites, right? Or we go traditional marketing. So traditional marketing is probably a print, brochures, this kind of stuff, right? So it all depends on the market where you are. Here in this simulation, you didn't have to go so granular into this decision, but you had to decide if you want to put money in the advertising mix or not. Digital content is as well. This is also to help you to get more content in terms of partnerships, and you had to put a budget between 0 and 10,000 euros. And then finally, the big data analytics. Why big data analytics is important? Because it's going to help you to understand the customer. And once you understand the customer, you will be able to do better updates so that you can update the functionalities of the app and the user experience according to their needs. And here you had to decide between no, low, medium, and high. Now, having discussed about all this, this gives you an overall understanding how the whole business game simulation is linked with all the parameters which you had to decide and to select. And at the end of the day, I believe that all this exercise is going to help you, first of all, to become hopefully better managers, but also going to help you when you go and search for a job and you do your interviews and you are sitting in front of a recruiter who's asking you about business understanding, you are able to grasp all this and lay it on the table and tell them that you know how to connect A to B to C to D to Z. And this is how you will say, listen, although I don't have all the knowledge or the capabilities, or, I am an expert in marketing, but I don't know technology, or I am a finance guy, but I don't understand marketing. But at the end, you will tell them that we understand how business works. We understand that if you train us, we will be able to achieve and to perform. And this is why we did all this simulation for you. So we hope that you have enjoyed the simulation, and we would like to thank you, all of you, and wish you good luck. And we hope to see you again in different simulations in the future. Thank you.